Today on Built to Last, one sister builds a roof, another shatters ceilings.
There's definitely been challenges of being in aluminum construction.
I was scared that I would go measure something wrong.
Like driving a big nail through a big angle. You're building the whole structure off of that.
Let's drive some pile. It's time for Built to Last.
Built to Last is brought to you by the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters Labor and Management Committee and Simpson Strong Tie.
Welcome to Built to Last. I'm Monica Peterson.
And I'm Mark Nilsson. When I was a kid, I could tell you everything about pile drivers. Best wrestling move ever. But Monica, there are no men in tights on these job sites, just very specially trained carpenters.
Pile drivers. I get it. Now, they are essential
Very.
for strong foundations, and carpenters are known for building sturdy structures. Now, let's meet some ladies who are ready to shatter the ceiling.
Our first story explores how one strong sister has changed thousands of lives and brought hope to a community in need.
Misericordia has a rich history of building to meet the needs. Misericordia was a maternity hospital. But later on in 1954, the direction changed to provide care for children with developmental disabilities.
When Sister Rosemary, a Sister of Mercy, became executive director in 1969, she looked around.
And all these beautiful little children, many of them with Down syndrome, stayed in bed all day. There were no programs. And Sister said, "Are they sick?" And the staff said, "No, they're fine." Well, then why are they in bed? Let's get them out of bed. So we had these mats, similar to a gym mat. We put the children on the mats, and all of a sudden they're crawling. And that's when the whole direction of Misericordia South changed, because of this young nun who dared to take a risk.
I've been coming to Misericordia since I was a very young child. It started with my father, Bob, before me. He was overseeing the planning and development of a renovation at the Misericordia South home.
Recognizing the role the environment could play in improving the quality of life, Misericordia's mission began to expand.
Until we physically outgrew Misericordia South and moved up to Misericordia North in 1976.
I live in the neighborhood. I live just a few blocks from Miz, and my parents started a group called Friends of Misericordia when Misericordia first moved on the north side, and I believe it was 1979.
We began taking people that weren't with us originally, but really had a need.
The Connolly family were especially attuned to Misericordia's mission. Hugh's brother was developmentally disabled.
Because of the amount of time that we spent living with someone with special needs who was disabled, we more fully understood some of the special needs that they had.
At the time, we went day by day and enriched their lives through different programs, through different seminars. We have people that are ambulatory, that can walk, people that are non-ambulatory, that live most of their life in a wheelchair. But we have programs to complement that life.
You're doing beautifully, Trish. I'm so proud of you.
It's easy for people to see if they take a tour. It's a great place for the residents. It's, there's a huge waiting list of people trying to get into Misericordia, trying to get their family members in, and that's because the quality of care is so good.
We've expanded every program and every building and residential area here at Misericordia in the 25 years that I've been here.
I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the wonderful people that come and volunteer for the new buildings on campus.
The tradesmen in this country are the salt of the earth. They're some of the smartest, brightest people I've ever worked with, and they're also kind.
The brotherhood, it's about helping other people.
A carpenter, or anyone for that matter, takes a visit. Visits a place like Misericordia one time, and it's really hard to leave.
They want to do something better and give back to the community, and what better way to give back than to assist a charity like Misericordia.
You know, it started in a union meeting, and the business agent at the time asked if anyone had charities, you know, throughout the room, and a couple were brought up, and I mentioned Misericordia, which is one of the bigger charities close to Local 58.
The locals are geographical, so a lot of times the members live in that geographic area, and the members go to church, have their kids go into the schools in that area. They find out about projects.
One of the houses on campus is called McGowan. That was built by all of the local unions' training classes. So all of the labor was donated for that.
I worked on the bakery when the bakery was originally done, and then the bakery was expanded. That's a great program at Misericordia. I worked on the Conway School building. I did a lot of work in there.
I think one of the most unique projects that we ever did at Misericordia early on was a physical and hydro and sensory therapy wing.
We have at the Macaulay Center children that, if we didn't take them out of bed, would never be able to get up. They are totally dependent on someone else.
And the whole concept was to either calm them down if they were hypersensitive, or to actually bring them out if they were withdrawn.
We will get them into the water so that they know what it's like to maybe for the first time be in an upright position without being in a wheelchair, because water offers an environment that's truly magical.
To see the benefits and the tremendous positive effect brings you great satisfaction.
When I first started with Sister in this field, people with Down syndrome, their life expectancy was between 12 and maybe 16, 18 years. It's not like that anymore.
Because of quality of care, residents are living a lot longer than they did 30 years ago. So we needed a better place for our aging population.
And the Quinlan Center is a beautiful, beautiful facility, and it's comprised of 4 homes. There's 15 people in each home.
My brother Brian just turned 58. He actually lives in Quinlan Terrace, and he is at a point in his life where he enjoys his quiet time. He likes to sit in his room and listen to his radio. He likes to draw. But one of the biggest things we were trying to do with these houses is give the residents, those that require some extra space, some extra space.
They're now having issues like memory loss. And we all have memory loss. But it seems like it's just so different with this population. And we do know in Quinlan, like in every other area at Misericordia, they respond to their environment.
But it isn't just about the sticks and bricks, as we say in construction. I cannot tell you the number of tradesmen who have said to me how working here and seeing the day-to-day challenges that our residents go through, how it's impacted them.
The kid smiles, the resident smiles.
Seeing the look on the people's faces and the gratitude that they show you, that's worth everything.
We do 3 things well. We provide excellent care, we provide peace of mind for the family, and we provide a ministry for the community to come help us make a difference.
Most girls only see construction as swinging a hammer. And although that's a very important part of the industry, there's so many other things they can do.
At Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions, we take great pride in making a positive difference in the lives of people. With the broadest portfolio in the industry and the technical performance to back it up, you can design and install with confidence. Our ceiling construction expertise, training, and pre-engineered ceiling solutions make it easy for you to seamlessly transition from one end of the building to the other. Improve construction efficiencies and keep every job on time, on budget, and on the mark with Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions. Faster, easier, better.
Keeping restaurants and hotels up to date with the latest design trends is a constant challenge. Finding qualified contractors isn't at finishingchicago.com. We work with top designers and general contractors who use the latest painting, drywall finishing, and wall covering techniques in Chicagoland's premier hotels and restaurants. The hospitality industry relies on finishingchicago.com as its free resource to find quality finishing contractors. For a great finish, start with finishingchicago.com.
For many, summer camp conjures up images of bonfires, mosquitoes, and s'mores. Well, not for these young ladies. In the world of construction, Rachel Peters is part of a rare yet growing breed.
M.M. Peters is a commercial concrete union construction company, and my mom, Mary, actually started the business in the late 90s. She was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad was been in the concrete business and worked for another company, and she kind of started her own.
Rachel runs a female-owned firm in an industry that is striving to improve its representation among women.
You might know that 47% of the workforce is women, but if you look at the construction industry, it's 9%, and less than 3% of the women in construction hold professional careers.
It's important for girls to know that carpentry is an option, or construction is an option, or any trade is an option. For me, growing up, I never heard anything about it. You live every day until you see buildings being built, you see road work being done, but it never clicks to you that that could be you doing it.
We're not exposed to all the different jobs in school. We're not exposed to, I wouldn't know that women are even in construction, and it's just an eye-opener.
Most girls only see construction as swinging a hammer. And although that's a very important part of the industry, there's so many other things they can do. They could drive a truck, they could run a project, they could design a project.
I have 2 daughters, and I want them to know that that's an option for them.
And to help girls see that there are rich opportunities for them in the trades, a group that includes Rachel is bringing Magic Camp to Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, Magic Camp is mentoring a girl in construction. It's a day camp for high school girls, really to get them interested in the construction industry.
Magic Camp was started in 2007 in Gwinnett County, Georgia, by Renee Connor, a woman who built a career for herself in construction. But when she faced the challenge of cancer, she realized she wanted to do more. Renee knew working in the trades can build strength, but that the trades also need strong women. And Magic Camp soon started to spread across the nation.
We heard about Magic Camp being done in other cities similar in size to Chicago, and we really wanted to bring it here because it's something that we see is going to benefit the kids in our area, the high schools.
The camp is meant to be hands-on, and it's meant to expose them to both the professional and trade side of the business.
It's just really focused. It's going to be 1 week, 5 days to really focus on the different aspects of construction. We're going to visit 5 different different areas. One day including Elzinga Concrete, where we'll go over, the science behind where concrete mix designs come, what the rebar's from, what does this do, how does the dispatch work.
One day we might be touring an architectural firm and learning about blueprint readings, and then we're going to go to the Carpenters Union, and they're going to let us build a wall together.
Being able to experience that through actually seeing what people do opposed to what you hear or what you're taught is just so much more eye-opening, and gives you more motivation to do that if that's what you want to do, opposed to just reading about it or hearing about it through school.
When women see other women happy, successful, and fighting for other women to be happy and successful in what's non-traditional work, I think that could be the start of breaking down all of these barriers.
I think when you see girls try their hand at building or design or any of these non-traditional fields and they succeed, especially when they're just starting to have an interest in things and maybe have been told they couldn't do it, or maybe even just thought themselves, I couldn't possibly do that. To see them have success and realize that, hey, maybe this is an option, I could do this, and I really like it.
I think that there's going to be a tipping point where we get so many women in, it starts being less of a big deal to see a woman on a job site.
I've already seen so much growth with women in the trades from when I first started.
Working in the trades doesn't just provide an opportunity to build a career for girls, but the increased participation of women is essential for our industries to survive and thrive.
Fact is, we're going to have an enormous labor shortage. Conference Board's reporting that we're going to need 2 million new tradespeople by 2020, and it can't be all men. So we have to embrace women and all diversities into the trades, and it's going to make a much better project in the end.
From 1940 to 1945, the percentage of women in the U.S. workforce grew from 27 to 37. Now that's riveting.
And now we'll meet some amazing carpenters who are ready to build on the success of the Rosies before them.
And that's Rosie the Riveter, just in case you were wondering.
Nobody was wondering.
My mom actually started the business back in 1994.
As a little girl growing up in this business, I used to follow my dad around.
My uncle was a union carpenter.
I was casting around and doing volunteer work.
We'd go to job sites, I'd sit at his drafting table.
He asked me, why don't I give it a try? And I was skeptical at first.
So I thought I could do that.
The day I graduated from high school, I was out on the road as a flagger.
I went over to my local and signed up.
And I just fell in love with, you know, the carpentry work, and I never turned back from there.
Being so young, at 18, joining the union, there's definitely been challenges of being a woman in construction.
I was scared that I would go measure something wrong, that I would cut something wrong.
You have to be willing to be vulnerable and say, I don't know everything.
You have to have a sense of humor, you have to have a tough skin. Where necessary, you have to speak up and push back.
There are days being a woman out here that you do have to prove yourself.
Because the initial thought for a female on the site is to give her something easy, give her something light to do, not any of the real work that a lot of people would consider the important stuff.
So I've always liked the challenge, so I feel I can bring it to the table, but it is a little bit of pressure. But I wouldn't do it if I didn't know I could handle it.
You take the initiative. I used to do everything I could to hurry up and finish whatever it was they wanted me to do, because I figured if they run out of stuff to give me to do, eventually they're gonna have to show me the other stuff.
And there's a lot to learn. Carpentry isn't just hammering and sawing.
Well, I think the thing that comes to mind about carpentry is that it's a pretty broad category.
When people think of construction, a lot of times they think of carpentry. We just had more parts of building homes and buildings than the other trades.
Kind of surprised me the most is how many different aspects there are that carpenters do. From solar panels to installing flooring, installing trim and casework and cabinets and millwork, drywall, metal studs, ceiling grids, bridge, concrete forming. You know, there's just a whole bunch of different aspects of carpentry that we do.
Started off doing bridge work, which is pretty rough physically, but seeing the concrete go down after those couple of months of laying it all out, it was just a feeling that I didn't quite expect.
Where we're standing right now, when I started, wasn't here.
When I drive past that bridge now, I can say I built that, I did that.
The carpentry, it's something that keeps me in shape and helps maintain my health.
Being a carpenter does make you stronger physically as well as mentally. I mean, you have to A, be able to do the work. You have to be able to do the work, you know, put the time in, work out, you know, take care of your body, make sure you don't hurt yourself, do things in a safe way. And so you do build up a lot of endurance for doing the actual work.
I'm 5 foot, about 120 pounds. If I can, you know, be this small and still do it, there's a niche for everybody.
I want bigger numbers in the trades. I want bigger percentages. I want women to come into the trades. And I think that'll show people that we can do anything.
Long story short, I want to make sure that I'm ready for the next steps.
The union offers free skill advancement classes. Taking advantage of them means the sky is the limit.
As an apprentice, I may not be able to become a superintendent. I can have all the training for all the, you know, the superintendent training and the safety training, so when that time does come, I qualify.
I went to the Women's March in Washington, and I was marching with a lot of tradeswomen. There were carpenters, plumbers, electricians, iron workers, bricklayers. There were so many different tradeswomen. We were all marching together, had our vests on and things. So the response of the other women to us, when they would see us with hard hats and all of that, that was eye-opening.
I love that it's hands-on and you have something tangible at the end.
It's hard work being a carpenter. I go, It's early start, depending on the location of the job. You may drive an hour and a half, 2 hours, but you gotta leave early so you miss traffic. You go, you work hard, and if you're outside, you're dealing with the elements.
That day was tough, that day was cold, that day we were wet, and to look back on it, it's such a gratifying and rewarding thing.
At the end of the day, you're ready to go home. And physically, by the time I get home, I'm drained, I'm tired, but not in a way that makes me not want to go out the next day.
It's so important to me to see more women get involved in the construction industry, even more so out here in the field, because there's so many opportunities.
Doing the work and getting the pay. That's really all, that's what it's about. And it really isn't so much a gender or a race thing. If you go out there and you put the work in, and the guys you work with or whomever you work with, if they see that you're working, you don't have any problems.
They're usually knee-deep in mud. They're wrestling steel beams that are 90 feet long. Pile drivers are most certainly a different breed from your average carpenter.
Stabila, for over 125 years, has led the industry in measuring and leveling. Still manufactured in Germany since 1865, tradesmen rely on Stabila every day for its precision and durability. We continue to revolutionize the way we build with our lasers, levels, and laser distance measuring tools on commercial and residential job sites around the world. Stabila, how true pros measure.
Meet the new family of Blaze laser measures from Bosch. Go ahead, turn it on and start measuring. It's that simple. The Blaze family offers a wide range of functions to tackle any measuring job. Extend your reach with accuracy up to 1/16 of an inch. With Bluetooth-enabled devices, easily transfer measurements to your smartphone or tablet with free Bosch apps. Reach farther, work faster, and stay accurate with the Bosch Blaze family of laser measures. Measure on.
I heard that pile drivers might just be the toughest and most daring carpenters out there. But then again, I heard that from a pile driver. The roads, bridges, and tunnels that make up the infrastructure of the United States are the vascular system of the country, through which the lifeblood of commerce flows.
We're in Meredosia, Illinois. We're building a new bridge. The old structure is pretty well outdated.
It is very important for the farm industry. We've got a big grain facility here in town. It's very important for the commerce, especially also emergency services. The existing bridge, the lanes are barely wide enough to get a typical truck across. This bridge is going to enable the trucks more safely to cross that bridge because we have wider lanes.
In order to provide safe passage across the nation, these marvels of engineering need to stand the test of time.
We're building bridges today that are going to last 100 years. They're going to be around longer than my kids are around.
And to craft structures that are built to last, you need a very special type of worker.
Typically, the term daredevil comes to mind when you talk about pile drivers.
They're very hard workers. They know what needs to get done and they're ready to do it. They don't know if I've ever been to a site where they're standing around or waiting to be told what to do.
They're almost a hybrid between iron workers and carpenters. Very hardworking, straightforward guys, will do anything for you. Very serious about their craft.
Pile drivers are most certainly a different breed from your average carpenter. They're usually knee-deep in mud. They're wrestling steel beams that are 90 feet long, going vertical, being pounded into the earth. Loud noises, flame cutting, welding, big cranes, big steel.
And it's a very particular craft that demands that these carpenters be trained in a very special way.
So there's many different types of pile driving. Some are for bearing purposes, setting structures on. Some are for earth retention purposes. There's all kinds of reasons why you drive pile. You've got river terminals where you got locks and dams. You know, you got the water work. Along with water work, you got bridges. You got to have a good foundation to build that bridge on.
You're putting the piling in there to hold up a main structure. It's like driving a big nail for a big anchor. You're building the whole structure off of that.
While they may be a different breed, pile drivers are not born, they're built at facilities like this one, on this muddy spit of land in Mechanicsburg, Illinois, about 20 miles outside of Springfield. The operating engineers have invited the carpenters to use their training facility, a show of solidarity quite common between the trades.
Well, today we're actually teamed up with the carpenters and we're putting on a pile driving class. It's a win-win situation because, pile driving is a specialized task that an operator, not every crane hand does that. And by teaming up with the carpenters, it helps our craft see what the other craft needs in a training scenario so that when they actually go out on the job, they know what the other craft is going to need.
It's all mandatory training that they all go through. The committee that oversees the training at the school decided to have this as something that would be incorporated with the training for the apprentices. It's important that the operators and the carpenters work hand in hand so when they get out on the job, they're going to exactly know what the process is going to be.
The apprentices learn all that goes into this specialized craft, from hooking up the piling to how to properly signal a crane operator.
Basically what's going to happen, like yesterday, we're going to come up, and we're going to push it in, and we're going to put that 4x4 in there, right? So I'm going to have you signaling them, okay? So let him come up with it, all right?
Multiple trades work together precisely in order to lay strong foundations.
Tell him to stab him.
And learning to expertly use pile drivers as well as communicate and work effectively with other trades is essential for the carpenters. Because once they get on the job site, they will be erecting the very structures that our communities are built on.
Bringing young apprentices into our trade, watching them learn the ropes, there's something very gratifying with that.
In Chicago, a new campus health center is being built for the Cook County Health and Hospital Systems. And pile drivers are there right from the beginning, ensuring a strong foundation for a facility that will serve the community for decades to come.
It's going to be a 9-story office medical building, all glass facade, streetscape, right up tight to the sidewalk, very sleek looking building. It's going to be a fantastic addition to the community. The actual purpose for the sheet piling is to keep all of the original earth in original space when you start construction. So nothing moves when you start unearthing behind it, keeping structures stable, roadways stable.
The sheet pile gets installed a lot. We can do up to 125 wall feet of sheet a day depending on the length of sheets and the soil conditions, but it's amazing how fast the work gets done and how quickly things get built.
And when these magnificent buildings rise up to shape the future skyline, it will be because a special breed of carpenter was there from the beginning.
There's a great deal of satisfaction when you can drive around a city like Chicago and know that it's because of you and the guys you work with that buildings like this and the roadways that you're driving on are built because of what we do.
That's all for this episode of Built to Last. We'll see you next time.
My dog tried to be a carpenter once. His work was a little rough.
Hopefully, we'll see you next time.